The following program is sponsored by The Greek, Ely's Radio Shack dealer at 570 Altman in downtown Ely, and brought to you as a public service by Georgetown Media in Ely, Nevada. Ely Municipal Utilities Board meeting, May 13th, 2021.
Ready? Cool. Welcome to the Ely Municipal Board, May 13th. Would you please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Chairman O'Flaherty.
Here.
Member Durbidge.
Present.
Member Ross.
Here.
Member Lilly.
Present.
City Clerk Lee. Here. City Treasurer Trask. Here. Public Works Supervisor Craycraft.
Here.
City Engineer Albert.
Here.
City Fire Chief Stork.
Here.
City Attorney Manueli.
Here.
And Councilman Carson is absent today. And that's all.
Thank you. Very good. Public comments not exceeding 3 minutes in length will be accepted from the general public in attendance. If any are made, there may be discussion upon those comments. No vote, decision, or action may be taken upon matters raised under this item until it's formally placed on the agenda. Comments or discussion items will not be accepted from the general public as per section 705. That would be comment, please. Good morning, George.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, on numerous occasions I've asked, and today have not received an answer in regards to Avenue A. Did the city purchase that property? You have a map showing what was purchased, how much was paid, or did the city install utility on private property, which is not proper? NRS does not allow that. Mr. Chairman, at your meeting on April 8, 2021, I asked if the county golf course had paid their water bill in full at the same rate as other entities. They were not billed properly due to the duct tape being found in the water meter. The meter was intentionally sabotaged, and they needed to pay the average use that meter, when that meter was functioning. You should have a clear record of that. Federal law mandate states you cannot discriminate in any federally funded or assisted utility. The golf course is looking for a sweetheart deal. Golf is a luxury, not a necessity. If they paid for the 111 million gallons of water that were used, that were reported by Councilman Allworth, I think that was back in December 10th or so of last year, 2020. Was the water service ever shut off, as you've shut others off? I want to remind you, your auditors have stated you must show the true cost of doing business, and you're not doing that. Mr. Chairman, did the city notify Mount Leader Power that they have to move some of their power poles on Murray Street and blocks where the new water and sewer lines are being installed? In some areas, proper minimum ADA passage is not available. If one is in a wheelchair, it makes it impossible to pass, and a person may have to drop 6 to 8 inches on the roadway to continue. Clear violation of federal ADA regulations. Mr. Chairman, I'm asking for a copy of the list of RVs and squatters that are setting up throughout the city. The city still refuses to give me a permit so I can rent my property. Mr. Carson is double stacking RVers in his trailer park. I want to know if he ever got a permit. There are fire codes. You cannot stack vehicles, RVs like that. But we're looking the other way. That needs to stop. I want equal protection under the law. Mr. Chairman, I've not received an answer in regards to the disposition of the 490 linear feet of 16-inch steel pipe from the Municipal project. I remind you to the NRS 281.481 forbids public employees and or officials from having preference in buying or selling public property. This request is almost 2 years old or older. Your staff needs to either do their job or resign. It's a simple question. We do have the 490 linear feet or we don't. I think they said 16-inch steel pipe was $260 a foot. That's a lot of money. We need to account for that. Mr. Chairman, a former employee of the city that dealt with licensing, billing.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
I
I need some answers, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, George.
I'm glad to see that you're here. Thanks.
Thank you, George. Consent agenda. These items may be approved in one motion by the board. As this first action of business, under for discussion of possible action items, approval of the consent agenda approves each of these items. Board members may remove any item from the consent agenda by notifying the board chair. We go ahead and motion to approve the consent agenda items 3A1 minutes of April 8th.
I move.
We have a motion on the floor.
I'll second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Public comment? For public comment, we'll move on to old business. Board member Robinson Nevada Mining Company, RNMC, representative discussion only. Update to the utility board on the Robinson Nevada development, roof pit development, and water mitigation efforts within the city of Beaver.
Mr. Chairman, I received an email from Frederick Partey last night. Well, Jennifer, I will not be able to attend tomorrow morning's utility board meeting. I am by this email providing you an update on old business item B1, roof pit development, and water mitigation efforts within the city of Ely. Robinson continues to mine from the roof pit complex. Here is a breakdown of fresh water dewatering effort from the South Block. About 10,554 gallons per minute being pumped. RW7P accounts for 1,512 gallons per minute, which is sent to the city of Ely. About 3,678 gallons per minute is going into Gleason Creek. The rest is going to the mill for ore processing. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, Frederick.
Thank you, Jennifer. Anybody have any concerns or questions in reference to Frederick's report? No concerns or discussion item, public comment in reference to that? Public comment, we'll move on to new business. Mayor Robertson, City Fire Chief Stewart, discussion for possible action. Recommendation to grant approval of the Garden State Fireworks to perform a fireworks display at the City of Ely landfill, August 22nd, 2021. How are you doing, Pat?
Good morning, good. This was brought before me by Garden State Fireworks. They give me several locations. They wanted to do a fireworks show after the horse races this year. And the other sites that they had were definitely not suitable for that time of year to be doing. So they wanted to do is up on one of the end of the landfill, which I think it would be a good location just for the fact that any of the fallout's going to fall in a clear area where there's no brush, nothing that time of year. The horse races, people did not want to do it at the golf course because you know how racehorses are, you know, you look at them wrong, they have it come apart. So they want to move it a little further away. So we thought that would be a suitable location. People could park around by the golf course, be at the golf course, whatever, and still have a good view of it. So it's basically just permission to use the property to set off the fireworks. They have, you know, the $2 million liability insurance, so they're big. They're one of the biggest fireworks companies in the United States. So basically my recommendation to let them use that location because it's better than all the alternate sites they're getting.
That is a great idea. I move we approve this.
Did Tom didn't have any issues with it? We discussed it with him.
When we talked with him, he didn't see no deal. The only problem we're going to have is, you know, they'd be in there after hours. I'm going to get with Mike, and I don't, you know, like I say, they're a reputable company, so it's not like we have to worry about them vandalizing anything or that. It'd just be a matter of locking the gate and giving them a key that they can get out when they're done and lock it back up and get the key back to us. And,
Somebody will be a water truck or something on hand.
yeah, we'll have something set up ahead of time. Typical like we always do, we'll have fire apparatus in the area, you know, because something could always potential to go wrong. So rather than a water truck, we'll have one of the fire trucks available in the area.
What is the projected time frame, start to finish?
You know, it's typical, probably like the show they did here in the park, we did like 20, 30 minutes max. So
Yeah, they're going to shots.
Thank you.
Very good. We have a motion?
I'll second.
Discussion. Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number, public comment. I'm sorry, George.
It's all right.
Got you.
Again, thank you.
I know I have more time.
I know, John, I know. That's-
I'm working on it though.
Yeah, you've been working on it for several years, and I appreciate that. My only concern with this is you're going to be that much closer to the Corral Association and the animals there. I just want to know if they were contacted and if they have any concerns. I realize that you have a concern with the horse races, but there are also those that have other animals, might not be horse races, but they can be affected by those sounds also. So I'd like to know if there was any contact, any feedback from those people before we proceed. Thank you.
Thanks, George. So noted, probably about the same distance between the golf course and the corrals and the cast. I don't know if there's been any adverse effects of either one, so hopefully not in this case. Item number 2, council members. City Attorney Manuel, discussion of possible action, recommendation to approve removal of past due utility fee penalties up to the amount of $2,420.92 for 35 Avenue R, McGill, Nevada, at the request of property owner Robert Pratt, acting on behalf of the Mariah Enterprise, Inc., due to the property never having a livable structure.
And so this is an issue that was brought up a little over a year ago, and Attorney Townsend did a majority of the research looking at this property. This specific property does not have a livable structure and was not supposed to be built for the landfill because there was no livable structure, and so he's just seeking a waiver of penalty for not paying the bills that should not have been in place in the first place. And so Attorney Townsend did the majority of the research. I followed up on that, confirmed the research, and it would be my recommendation to waive those fees, the penalty.
Very good. Any questions? Any concerns?
I move we approve.
The motion?
Second.
The motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Public comment? Public comment. We move on to item number 3. Board Manager, City Clerk Lee, discussion of possible action, recommendation to approve the removal of past due utility fee penalties up to the amount of $584.37 for 236 Bay Avenue number 2, Ely, Nevada, request of property owner Cave and Brandy Summerall.
Yes. The Summeralls have paid the landfill charges due in full, and they are requesting that the penalties be waived. They purchased this property on a county tax sale and inherited the debt.
Very good. Any questions or concerns?
No, sir. I move we approve.
The motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Public comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'm not against this, but I want to remind you that when I bought my property tax sale for 190 High Street, I paid the penalties, I paid the interest, and yet I'm still being billed. I'm on equal protection under the law. Mr. Bath bought the old Plaza Hotel. He took his fees completely away. When I bought the school, I paid it all, knowing full well that I'd have to pay any liens. Yet I was never put back on the agenda for any consideration. You got to stop selectively enforcing the law, period. You got to take that balance off of mine. I don't have a problem with any of these folks. I have a problem with City Hall. You have staff that doesn't know what they're doing. I want my billing corrected the same way you did this. I was not told you can't have forgiveness unless you pay in advance, when in fact the city owes me money for overpayment.
Thank you, George. Any other public comment? Not, we'll move on to the city department reports. Jeremy?
Nope, nothing to report.
Dale?
Nothing.
Ken?
Nothing, sir.
I have nothing. Councilman Carson is gone. City Public Works Supervisor Mike, any issues, concerns? I see your report was a good one, thank you. City water operator also city clerk?
I don't have a report.
Nothing either. City attorney?
Nothing.
Very good. I see we got one lien release. That's good.
Yeah.
City treasurer? Nothing. And our famous city engineer, DJ, pedal up here.
I couldn't disappoint. Everybody else was turning it down, so I had to take my chance. Quite a few things are going on. I want to update you on some things going on with Altman Street. We've decided to upgrade some water line crossings along the project on Great Basin Boulevard that were not included in the original design packet. Originally, they were not included because we weren't having issues with them and because of the age of them. We had kind of drawn a line in the sand and said, hey, anything older than this will replace with this project, and it didn't meet that criteria. But as work was going on through the project, they did have a little bit of issues with it. As they got in working close and digging around it, they did spring a leak and such. So the other reason originally was just cost of the project. This was going to be a very big cost of the project, and so we tried to complete the project, as minimally as we possibly could, saving our city funds. And then in the meantime, once the project plans were completed and out on the street, then it became realized that NDOT was actually participating in it because our improvements were actually older than their right away. So everything that we had done to kind of keep our costs down, we also got cut in half because NDOT was going to pay basically roughly half of our stuff. So we have the money to do this. I coordinated with the treasurer. The treasurer has put this into this coming year's budget to pay for those additional improvements on that. So those additional crossings are at Avenue G, H, and Campbell Street. She's correcting me on something, but I don't know that. But anyway, we've coordinated with her for the funding of this, so whatever she needs to do, she knows what she needs to do better than me. Then the other thing is I was approached by a property owner along Great Basin Boulevard earlier this week about putting in it's a vacant land, putting in water and sewer service to that property. The contractor do that with this project while the road's being tore up. I told him I didn't believe the city would have any issues with it doing that, but the city's not going to pay for those services going to that property, and neither with NDOT. He would have to coordinate that with the contractor, see if the contractor is capable of working that in the schedule to do that. So I believe he is currently working with that contractor to see if that is a possibility. I just wanted to raise it to your guys' hey, this was approaching here. I told him, and I've had some conversation with the city staff, that I don't believe that we should issue him a will serve for sewer or water at this point in time because we don't know what's going in there. It is a commercial property. I don't know if it's going to be a Frosty stand or a 100-room motel, and there's definitely differences in fees based on what goes in there. So my recommendation is we don't necessarily give him a will serve, we don't charge for connection fees until the time the building department, when he comes and actually develops that property. The building department is always the department that starts that process of whatever's going to build something to get the will serves. And then at that point in time, we could charge them the proper rate since we know what would actually be going in there. So that was one. One other thing that was going on there, we completed all our main line on East Altman Street. Everything was great, and then we turned the water line. There was one house that was not on Altman Street, was on a back block that had a line that had snaked its way up through properties to get to Altman Street. So Carl and his guys come back and got that taken care of for him. So that was kind of a little hiccup that was unanticipated, but was something that we dealt with. So those are kind of the main things we've been helping the city. That's kind of slowed down a little bit, dealing with the Porter Group, trying to get some earmark funding for some of our projects. We got all of our stuff kind of compiled for them. We're just waiting for them to get back to us on some other issues as they go to trying some other avenues into getting some funding for us. So, any other questions for me?
When's Murray going to be done?
Murray, I think the due date for Murray is the beginning of next week. They got a couple of weather days and such going through the project, so I'm going to say roughly about the end of next week is when it's due. I think they're probably going to be running about a week or so behind schedule. Any other questions for me?
Thank you,
All
Jim.
right, thank you.
Public comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, a former employee of the city that dealt with licensing and billing relating to Councilman Spear no longer works for the city. The city needs to conduct an audit of that position and the billings. Did she have a bond? I want to remind you that the billing for my property at 490 High Street again has yet to be corrected. I remind you that I was charged $746.65 for outside water capital improvement, and there's no such thing. That's not funny, John. I'm getting mad. I'm not getting mad at you, but I can't believe the stupidity. It's been months. All I want is equal protection. For crying out loud, there's no reflection on the billing that was ever taken off. And I paid what you guys told me, with the penalties, which no one else has done. I paid the billing and interest as directed earlier, yet my most recent bill as of this month is for $1,450.85. Correct the billing. Hire competent staff and resign. The city needs to stop the discrimination. How many times do I got to keep coming up here? Mr. Chairman, I'm again reminding you the city is yet to reimburse me for the expenditure that I incurred for curing the sewer problem at 681 Parker. That was the city's responsibility. That was out in the street. Interest of 2% a month is being assessed in addition to the late fee. The amount due as of March 21st, 2021 was $8,080.07. At the utility board meeting held on August 13, 2020, you, Mr. Chairman, instructed City Clerk Jennifer Lee to send me a check. I've not received anything as of today. What's the delay? Run out of ink? Get the check. I'll take care of the rest. City Council ordered to pay for an upgraded larger sized water line to the tune of $60,000 or more or less for the property extending from Loves to the old Charter School area. That's the responsibility of the developer, not the city. NRS 268.512 to 268.568 states the city cannot assist a private business. Here you're throwing away $60,000, which wasn't your responsibility, and yet you're forced me to pay for a repair that was your fault. You didn't have the proper grade on that sewer line servicing my home on the 4th of July when I had people coming.
Read.
You meaning the city part, okay? Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, no? Time's not up. You're interfering with my
Sorry,
time,
sir.
sir.
Don't want to cut you short.
First, I want to know if the utility billing has been brought back to City Hall. You know, this thing is sending it out via computer somewhere else. There's a big mix-up there. Something is wrong. You need to bring the building back. At one time, you had 2 people in there, and they were able to do everything. Things could be corrected. Now you got computers, you got half a dozen people, and nothing is being done.
Always appreciate public comment. Any other public comment?
Give me my money.
Next meeting, please.
That's going to be June 10th.
June 10th. Hope everybody can make it. Thank everybody for coming today. Meeting's adjourned.
Carolyn.
No, it's Terry. He's saying we
The one before him.
can't play golf.
Thank you.
You gonna make lunch, John?
Yeah.
I remember it.
I'll see you lunch.
She was only here for 9 months. She lived
Thank you.
No, she lived here when she was a city attorney, and now she is on the East Coast somewhere.
Enjoy your day.
Anyway.
This has been a Georgetown production. George Chatchis reporting.